Well, welcome back to Stab the Dragon Productions for episode number 257 and Irish Studies number 4, coming to you from Fort Worth, Texas on Wednesday, March 25th, 2026, where it's about 83 degrees. So just the facts. Here's what we're looking at tonight. Glendalough Irish Whiskey. This is a single grain, 84 proof. 750 milliliter bottle, listed at Goody Goody for $27.99, but sold out. Currently, I don't know of anywhere in town that I can get this. Tasting notes. This is sweet, vanilla, some spiciness, touch of lemon, very light touch of sherry, maybe some butterscotch going on in there. The notes come out tasting similar to bourbon, getting it from the bourbon cask. I gave this a score of 84, letter grade for drinkability, A-. My recommendation, for a bourbon drinker from America, this is a very good transition whiskey to Irish, and the price and value combines with the drinkability to make me want to get this again, if I can find it. So I highly recommend it. All right, let's pour some whiskey in here. History. Glendalough means the Valley of Two Lakes, from the Wicklow Mountains south of Dublin. This distillery was established in 2011 in a beautiful place known as the Garden of Ireland. I think there's a national park nearby as well. So established in 2011 by Kevin Keenan, Gary McLaughlin, Barry Gallagher, Brian Fagan, and Donald O'Gallagher. They founded the Glendalough Irish Whiskey Company, and they opened their doors in 2014. Barry Gallagher was the managing director. And so since, anytime you start up a craft distillery, and this was the first craft distillery started up in Ireland, so they claim, for several hundred years. So, and so they're distinguishing between craft distillery and industrial big league distillery. I think that's the division they're looking at capitalizing on there. But so they've had to source whiskeys from Cooley Distillery, and I think that may be what's in here as well. Even though, starting up in 2011, 2014, it's been a while. But Glendalough is also home of the ancestral home of St. Kevin from the 6th century. And his feast day is June the 3rd. Kevin lived approximately 498, so late 5th century to 618, early 7th century. He was a hermit who famously befriended many animals, wild animals and birds, but many men came to him to be taught the gospel, and his disciples spread throughout Ireland, building the church and preaching. This whiskey has won several gold and even double gold medals through the years, from Ireland to San Francisco, New York, all the big league whiskey competitions. So it's done quite well through the years. So for history, 5 out of 5. I like how they linked it with the geography and with the history of that geography. So this is the man standing here represents St. Kevin. Bottle, label, and marketing. The bottle is a simple, round, straight-sided, medium height. It had a wooden cap and a real cork stopper. I think that label is cool. It's attractive, classy, a little bit mysterious. I like the St. Kevin theme. For whatever reason, this bottle, the label, and the story behind it evokes Tolkien themes in my head. Okay, I know Tolkien wasn't an Irishman, but still, that's kind of what I get in my head from all this. There's some nice hoo-ha statements on here, but they are very hard to read because they're small print and wrapped around here. St. Kevin, discovered Glendalough in the 6th century, inspiring our ancient city, which for hundreds of years beckoned thousands of pilgrims and monks from far and wide. Keepers of Irish knowledge and pioneers of distilling spirits. There you go. And then some more hoo-ha statements here. We're proud to call this land of roaming, rugged beauty home. So there you go. It's just very difficult to read. All right. So for the bottle and label, I'm impressed there. The label does say double barrel. Okay, that's kind of its name, instead of saying sherry finished. And to me, some reviewers called that into question, saying, why would they say that? They ought to say sherry finished or double casked or something like that, emphasizing the sherry. Double barrel evokes, coming from Texas, come on, evokes a shotgun, right? Double barrel shotgun. So I don't know why they chose to do that, but that's how they did it. As far as marketing goes, I've never seen this really advertised, but I did a YouTube search. The Glendalough Distillery has a series of very well done videos out there advertising the place and their drinks, including something called, I'm going to butcher the name here. It's spelled Poitin, but they pronounce it in the Gaelic way, and it's like, I can't even pronounce that. Poitin. What that is it's an ancient precursor to whiskey. Beets, potatoes, and grain is involved in the making of that, and they still make it. And so that's kind of cool. That'd be interesting. And YouTube also has several reviews of this whiskey. A lot of people have reviewed this. So 5 out of 5 points for bottle, label, and marketing. Appearance of this whiskey. This is a very light honey straw colored whiskey. 2 out of 5. You don't really see any of the influence of the sherry in the color there. Composition. This is an Irish whiskey, but it is a single grain whiskey. 42 ABV or 84 proof. It is distilled for Glendalough, not by Glendalough. From Cooley Distillery, maybe. But again, here's my question. They've been in business for 12 or 13 years. Why are you still sourcing stuff? I don't know. I'm not sure. Which there's nothing inherently wrong with that. Although, they don't really tell you where. It just says distilled in Ireland. Okay. So a little bit lack of clarity there on the composition. But I had no idea what the mash bill was, but on Ralphie.com, he said this was corn whiskey with a small amount of barley. So maybe so. Ralphie knows his stuff. 12 out of 15 for composition because of a little bit of lack of clarity going on there. Let's nose the whiskey. Again, I do get that corn, lemon, grass, vanilla. A little bit spicy. I might be getting a little bit of that sherry on the nose. This is a very pleasant nose, but not really strong. But it's decent. 8 out of 10 on the nose. Let's go in for a taste. Very sweet. You get that. There's definitely corn in there. A little bit of vanilla, some spice. If there's fruit in there, I'm not getting anything from the sherry. I'm getting more of a lemon, citrusy flavor going on there. On the finish, there might be a hint of the sherry. I think there's some butterscotch notes in there as well. So I'm really thinking the bourbon cask has influenced this way more than the sherry cask. So I'm not getting much of that sherry on here at all. This is very pleasant though. This is delicious. This is actually quite good. So 21 out of 25 for taste. The mouthfeel, burn, and finish. This has a decent mouthfeel. Delightful burn that punches above its proof in a nice way. Very bourbon-esque. 13 of 15 for the mouthfeel, burn, and finish. Flexibility. Well, this is certainly beautiful, neat, and that's my favorite way to drink it. The flavors with that burn might be strong enough for ice, but I really do think this would go well in a cocktail. Either, something simple like a 7-Up or Sprite, ginger ale, or in an old-fashioned. This bottle was gifted to me by my friend David, who is passing through for training with the Navy here in Fort Worth. And so he left this for me. So he and I had shared a couple of drinks. There's not much left here, so I haven't done a cocktail with this. So stand by and I think this would hold up good in a old-fashioned of some sort. So let me be right back with a cocktail. And I'm back with an old-fashioned. Now, I've modified this, although I've checked the rules and you can do this with an old-fashioned. Since I was getting lemon with this whiskey, instead of putting an orange peel in there, I put a lemon wedge and a cherry because I was getting hints of that Oloroso sherry cask. So I figured a cherry wouldn't hurt it and a lemon wouldn't hurt it. Now, me and old fashions. Recently I took a trip across the southern states. Had 3 old fashions, 3 different establishments, and they were all terrible. And the last one put a lemon in there, and it was like lemonade. Couldn't even taste the bourbon. It was lemon water. That's all. So I was hesitant to do this. But I thought, with this whiskey, lemon might actually work better than orange. And in fact, it does. That's pretty darn good. Now, I did use some orange bitters along with Angostura bitters. The sweetener I used was just not even half a teaspoon of plain white sugar stirred around in there. Just didn't feel like turbinado or maple syrup would work. So this whiskey then absolutely works in an old-fashioned. And you can tweak old-fashions to your whatever suits your taste. So for flexibility, 5 out of 5. Price, value, and availability. Goody Goody had it listed for $27.99, but out of stock. No other store that I've contacted in Fort Worth has this available. So, sadness. I don't know if I'll be able to get this again. And I just finished off that bottle. So, I hope to get this again. Will I be able to? I don't know. Maybe it's available in your area. So, price, value, and availability. The value and the price are excellent. But with no availability, 7 out of 10. My friend David, like I said, gave this to me, and I think he did not get this in Fort Worth. I think he got it from somewhere else. He travels around a lot. Bonus points. This is a tasty, budget-friendly, single-grain Irish whiskey. 5 out of 5 points for bonus. Cool history, nice label, a lot of good reviews out there on it. Tastes great. So, yeah, total score 84 points. Letter grade for drinkability, an A-. My analysis and recommendation. I think this is a very good whiskey, especially for the price. In some ways, I think this stands out from the herd of Irish whiskeys. I think because it's a single grain. I don't think I've ever had a single grain Irish before. Well, I might have. I've had Powers Rye, and I think that's a single grain. So this will be my second single grain, but I think I like this one better than the Powers Rye, and I'm a rye guy. So for a bourbon drinker from America, I think this is a great transition whiskey to Irish. And again, the price and value combined with the drinkability, this is a buy. I would say give it a try. I want to get another one if I can find it. So what's coming up next? Well, we've got maybe the Whistler, maybe Redbreast, maybe Green Spot. I've got two different versions of the Whistler. This one is the Oloroso Sherry, and then I've also got, I think it's a stout finished, stout cask. So we'll see what comes up next. For now, this is Stab the Dragon production, out here.